I will handle the Overlord. You focus on the defenders.
Define focus.
Shadow of War is a video game that a lot of people are talking about recently. Jacob Kulkowski, who's here with me.
We're going with the video gamer intro where you just do the game straight away. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Hi, Mike. It's me, Jake. We're back for another ASMR video where we talk in our hospital radio voices about games for quite a long time.
So settle in, open that bottle of wine.
That's right. Yeah. If you've got any Thorntons that you're keeping from your husbands, now's the right time. Okay. Just kidding. None of you guys are married women. You're all
well, there might be
boys that want to hear about orcs.
Yeah, of course.
Right. We've got a video for you.
Yeah, orcs that aren't that fun, to be honest. This is going to be a bit of a moaner of a video, to be honest. We've done a few of these videos, and they've all been pretty positive, really. I mean, they've all been pretty nice about what we're talking about. We wanted to make the videos because we were enthusiastic about what the product was. Here, it's going to be Shadow of War, Middle-earth Shadow of War, which is just flat out not a good game, and I can't escape that. I've really stuck with it. I'm about 20 hours in, and it's not something that I've kind of knee-jerked to. I'm like, we could have made this video a lot earlier because I felt quite strongly about this after like 5 hours, but you know, I just wanted to keep hammering away to see if I kind of changed my mind. I have a little bit. I can kind of see the goodness in there, but oh my god, it's drowned out by so much other stuff, and that's kind of the big problem with the game, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So I've played about 20 hours. Jake, you've done
nearer to 10 hours than 5.
Oh, right, cool.
I haven't unlocked the things that you're going to be talking about in a minute. So I'm probably feeling a little bit how you were feeling last week about the game, really. Yeah,
it's okay. So let's get this straight, like pretty early on. I hated this after about 2 or 3 hours, and as a huge fan of Shadow of Mordor, that really took me by surprise. Right?
Well, we're both Tolkien fans. That's important.
Absolutely, yeah. And like Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of the first kind of books that I read. You know, books that weren't like flipping Goosebumps or whatever. It was
nice little bit of Mike backstory there. But no, it's important to know that we're all about that life.
Yeah.
We enjoy the world, and so that's kind of important because we wanted to go into this game liking it.
So what is the actual problem with it? Well, I reckon, first of all, that there's just too much stuff in it, okay? This suffers from a huge padding problem. It's absolutely bloated to high heaven, right? And there's good stuff in there, like I said. There's some, you know, the combat is still tight, but there's just too much combat. The whole game feels like go over here and fight a bunch of orcs Arkham style. Good job, man. Now go over there and fight a bunch of orcs Arkham style. And that's what it is for 20 hours.
Like, the average orcs even give you experience?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think they do.
I mean, if they do, it's so minuscule it's not worth worrying about. And it's like the experience comes at the end of quests and all the side activities that you can do. So it's classic open world design. It's a big open map, classic like Assassin's Creed 2, and that's another big problem. The game's rooted in open world design that is just like old. It's just outdated. We've had games since that have broken the mold in that sense. So we've had Breath of the Wild, we've had The Witcher 3, we've had games that just don't rely on it like that, but this game just flipping like bathes in it. It's like
huge map, and it's just a lot of icons that scattered around all straight away. It's quite overwhelming, really, and especially early on in the game when you're not even really sure of the merits of doing it. It doesn't make any apologies for the amount of things to do, and sometimes people praise games like The Witcher 3 for its huge amount of content, and this game's got a lot of content as well, but it's the context is really important, isn't it?
Of course, and so that's the thing, right? It's content like for content's sake. It feels like a mobile game. It feels like mobile game levels of content where it's just do this for the sake of doing it, not because it's fun. And the story is so weak in it. The characters in it are so weak. You just really don't care about what's going on. And so the whole game just becomes this giant flipping bouncy castle that you're bouncing around in.
You're right. I think apathy is really important in this. Not only, like, for me, the story at the beginning with, like, Shelob getting a ring of power was shite.
Yeah, and then Shelob, who is a hot woman for some reason, not a giant fucking spider.
There's that as well, I almost forgot about that. And then you saw, like I was saying a minute ago, like you're carving through these orcs, and there's like 5 of them on you at once. You're fighting them all for nothing. Like
Yeah.
you literally there's a sprint button, isn't there? And then you've got like your super duper ghost sprint.
Yeah.
And if you just do the super duper ghost sprint through these orcs, it's because they end up just being like zombies in The Walking Dead later seasons. They're just a fucking inconvenience. So
they're just background noise. They're just and that's even with the Nemesis system, which is the whole point of the game.
Exactly. So you end up just basically trying to like zoom from point to point to point, ignoring these orcs, which should be engaging. You should enjoy killing them. There should be a point to it. You should get experience for it.
Exactly. And so all that for me comes under the category of bloat, of padding, right? It's like it's a YouTube channel over fucking True Detective. It's like just stuff. It's just stuff to be consumed. It's like a daily update of stuff to go on, stuff kind of mindless entertainment rather than something that is worth kind of sitting there and going through. That might be what some people want, right? And I'm not kind of I'm not dismissing that.
You get your money's worth with the quantity over quality.
Yeah. Right? Because if you're looking for quantity, it's kind of like Mad Max from a couple of years ago. I played that recently and enjoyed it, okay? But here's the difference between Mad Max and Shadow of War. Like, structurally, they're exactly the same. Huge open world, massive open world, with loads and loads and loads of stuff to do in it. Stuff that is kind of similar, stuff that isn't really that interesting. But here's the difference, right? Shadow of War is Batman Arkham combat, which I've done a million times over by now. I'm so bored of it. Mad Max was car combat, which I hadn't ever done, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was like PlayStation 1. It was like Twisted Metal or something like that. That was the last time I ever had anything like that. Yeah. So it was that was fun enough to keep me engaged. But Shadow of War is just, oh my God, I don't know. So it's below the padding. That is one big problem. The other big problem for me is just the Nemesis system actually does my head in. It's great, okay? The animations and the funny orcs, the way they speak and the lines that they say and the personalities that they've got and how each one of them is different and the way that it's produced, proper randomly generated stuff, not like No Man's Sky bollocks. This is good stuff, right? That is just completely struck together for you, and that is great. But it's when you jump in to assassinate one of these orcs, right? And like you're getting called out by like 3 or 4 of these things. Yeah. So you're playing the game, and suddenly you hear this.
I've heard stories about you and your wraith. Stories about how you can't die. Well, let's find out if they're true.
The game takes the control out of your hands. You have to listen to what that guy's got to say. What Shag the
machine,
guitarist.
Shag the machine.
Shag the machine. You got to listen to what Shag the machine's got to say. He's said his piece, right? Then before you know it,
Groz the
Impaler rocks up and he's like, "Oi, mate!" And he's got something to say, in a South African accent this time. So you're listening to that. This can happen like 2 or 3, 4 times in a row. That just absolutely does my head in. Okay, I can't even tell you how annoying that is.
Yeah, it is annoying. Hey, you know what? This is my main problem with it. This is a cool segue into my main problem. It's momentum. This is a game that's supposed to be about free flowing. Exactly. When you start the game, right, you play the game for about a minute of sneaking. Then there's a 3 or 4 minute cutscene, and then you start the game. Whenever there's a tutorial or a tip which tells you how to play the game, it's not like a tool tip. It pauses the game. Hold L2 to bring out your bow. You do your bow, and then it's like the next bit. So you do that, and then it's like hold L3 to sprint, and it just keeps. Just stop stopping me. You know.
Here it is. So the game is annoying, right? Because that's exactly it. There,
it's a momentum issue,
and that isn't just the first few hours. The tutorial is permanent. The whole game is constantly drip feeding you stuff to do. If you play Bloodborne and Dark Souls, you get killed by a giant troll. You're like, how the fuck? What? How am I supposed to kill that troll? Mm-hmm. In this game, as soon as you see a troll, it goes, "This is exactly how you kill this troll. Do it now." And you've got to do that. It's holding your hand like it's holding both your hands, and you're just forcing you to do this stuff. There's so many screens and menus and different things to look at that it's just thrust in your face all the time.
It takes you away from like the great world that you're being put in. I remember when the dev diaries were coming out and they were talking about building this world and all that, and I'm thinking that half the time I've just spent it like go and shoot these fucking people exactly how we're telling you to. So when you do get into the gameplay, like what you were saying a minute ago, you fighting an orc and then another orc appears. Still got a little cutscene, and it's just like, half of the game is spent me watching God. And like you're saying then about with the content, like it's cool that the game's not front loaded us with content. You learn things about the game constantly, and like a couple of hours in you learn a new mechanic, and that can sometimes be a good thing for the pacing of the game. But it just seems to just miss the mark here, right? It just drags you along.
And that ties to the first first problem that we were talking about, the padding. There's just too much stuff in it, all right? What they've done is they've had a great foundation with Shadow of Mordor. The Nemesis system was perfect, and the reason that game was so interesting and so well received the way it was, because like a surprise hit, surprise game of the year contender almost, right?
Yep.
It's because it was structurally very good, and there was just enough game, there was just enough Nemesis system, there was just enough drip feed of stuff. In this, they've taken that game and like put like 2 other games on top of it, and not in a good way, not in a way that you think, oh, this is exciting, this is loads of stuff to do. It's like duties. It's presented to you like a free-to-play mobile app, and you just feel like, oh, I've got to do all this shit exactly as it's telling me.
I feel like what they've done is they've ruined it with kind of pride, and what I mean by that is like in the first game, there was this Nemesis system, which was pretty cool. It's pretty understated. Not many people heard of it, you know. Like when we were talking to Gaz about it, a couple of podcasts ago, and he was like, "Oh, right, that sounds interesting." In this, it literally stops you to go, "Hey, look at this cool stuff I've got. Hey, this is the Nemesis system. Hey, this is the loot box system. Hey, guys,
not voiced by character from ACG and stuff.
Hey, maybe subscribe." And every single little feature, it's like, we want you to know, guys, that we've just put this feature in. Stop the game. Stop playing the game. Hey, look at this feature. Guys, we've got features.
Like a
we
magician.
have got content,
Look
guys.
at my eyes. Look at my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, all right, we'll find that yourself.
It's got a serious problem with that. It's
a
the
pacing problem, and it's an information.
It's interesting that you're saying it as a pacing problem. For me, it's like annoyance. It's bothering you. It's hassling you with stuff. But it's exactly the same thing we're talking about. But we both see it in different ways.
A different angle of the same problem.
Yeah. So it's like a pestering thing for me, and for you, it's like a pacing thing. So this is maybe the final point now. They haven't thought about the fundamentals because there's so much other stuff to be making sure that it works, making sure that combat slots into place with a Nemesis system, which slots into place with the siege system, because you can besiege castles and stuff. You're going to make sure you can recruit these orcs into your army. Like, they've put in all these puzzle pieces together, but they're not making sure that those puzzle pieces work well and are fun. Just trying to climb up a building, you will just shoot up it like a like a superhero.
Super duper ghost again.
But then if you jump and you find yourself caught on a box, Italian might not just climb it. You might be pushing up and pressing X and expecting him to stand on the box. He just won't do it. He's like, nah, mate, I'm just dangling here while the orc that I'm supposed to be saving is getting murdered by another orc. It's just, the game has problems like that.
And this is without even touching on the microtransaction system. We'll see how we did that.
Of course, yeah. There's stuff in it that's fun. This is the stuff that they've let kind of trample over all of the other things to make the other things less fun. So the core of the game isn't as fun because the siege battles are in there, because they've been focused so much on the siege battles, which are great. They're spectacular the first few times, but then eventually, you're just basically still beating up orcs Batman Arkham style at the end of the day, and that's all it is, right?
Yeah.
And then you can fly around on top of a dragon or a drake, it's called in the game. The first time you do it, it's amazing. Targaryen up in the sky there, breathing fire on everything. It's just like God mode. Everything becomes so easy when you're doing that. That you can see that they've had all of these ideas, like feature creep, like, oh, let's have siege castles, let's build your own army, let's get you riding a dragon. They've done all that at the expense of making sure that the rest of the game is fun, and it's just not. The first 10 hours should not be fully tutorialized. It should not be it takes so long to get to that stuff, to the siege stuff, to the flying a dragon stuff, the stuff that is pretty fun and is pretty spectacular, at least the first few times. It spends so long giving you boring stuff to do, on the way there.
Everything but the end game seems to be a tutorial.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how you should be doing a single player game, is it, really?
Yeah, exactly. It's the most AAA game that there is. It's pure AAA, and it's everything bad about AAA. It's like the microtransactions, the game is structured around making you spend more money. The game is based around a really boring open world system, bloated as high hell. It's just, there's nothing in it that is interesting or fun, and the fact that it's got so many great reviews, I think, is purely based on the investment and the spectacle and the size of the game, because some people will feel like they definitely got value for money out of it. But if you're looking for something fun and interesting, I don't think you're going to find it here. So that's the...
How do you follow that? Let's end it.
Let's leave it there. Let's go have a coffee, man. Jesus Christ. Shadow of War. It's out now on PC, PS4 and Xbox One, probably.
Don't buy it.
But
that's fun.
I mean, is that the end of the video?
Is that what we're gonna... Yeah, don't buy it.